1000万 MLB 翻訳侍戦士チャンネルへようこそ。ポストシーズンでの投手起用に注目が集まる中、ドジャースの大谷翔平選手をはじめとする日本人選手たちの活躍が期待されています。特にチーム打線の選球眼の高さと投手陣の配球の巧みさは多くの注目を集めています。今回は現地メディアによる詳細な分析の様子を日本語翻訳でお届けいたします。この動画が面白いと思っていただけましたらチャンネル登録をよろしくお願いいたします。
All right, so Judge and Ohtani are great plate discipline guys, and plate discipline is something we've talked about a lot this playoff. The Dodgers, how they don't chase pitches off the plate. The Yankees, by the way, during the regular season, they had the lowest chase rate of pitches off the plate. And so we've got a showdown here of these two teams that work the count. They force pitchers to pitch it and bring it back in over the plate. We saw the Dodgers walk 41 times against the Mets in a 6-game series. 41 walks. Absolutely unbelievable. But here's the issue. The Dodgers pitching staff throws the lowest percentage of pitches in the zone. The Yankees throw more pitches out of the zone than any other team in baseball. So the Dodgers don't swing at pitches out of the zone. The Yankees throw pitches out of the zone. What gives here, Carlos?
Right, we're gonna have a stalemate. there's not gonna be any action. No, look, it's so important to understand that when these pitchers get out of the zone on the pressure zones, the production goes down over 50%. Right? So that's why you want to live on the edges. The thing is that you got to have a very good EV tunnel. And, I'm going to go back all the way to Perry Husband, Effective Velocity, Downright Filthy Pitching. That was that book in 2004 when we were talking about tunnels. That's why tunnels were invented, so that you can create chases. So the question is, can you have an approach so that you do not fall into the trap of these pitchers? And if you're a pitcher, you want to make sure that you select the right tunnel. And most pitchers do not. That's why the Dodgers are so good at that.
Why, to put in context why this is important, I don't know if either of us would argue that whoever hits the most home runs in this series is going to win the series. Okay, how do you hit home runs? You get in plus counts. How do you get in plus counts? You don't chase pitches outside the zone. You force the pitcher back inside the zone. So it's a really interesting phenomenon because the Dodgers train their players. Obviously it's a mantra within the organization that they dominate the strike zone. The Yankees, I'm sure, pitching attack is what Carlos talks about. We're going to make it look like a strike, but it's not going to be a strike. And so who makes the adjustment here? Who wins this? On top of it, the Dodgers in the postseason so far this year, the majority of pitches they throw are breaking balls. They don't throw a ton of fastballs, and they don't throw fastballs in the zone. And so are the Yankees hitter going to force the Dodgers pitchers to throw strikes, fastballs within the zone? Whoever wins this ultimately wins the battle. And it's fascinating to me because it's a team collective battle, but it's an individual battle based upon what the advance reports say how to get certain guys out. So, Steve, to me, it's the most fascinating aspect of this series.
I completely agree. And remember, now the numbers for the Yankees are a little skewed because Marcus Stroman is among the pitchers who throw the least pitches in the zone, and Luke Weaver as well. Now, for me, when I think about this, strike one, first pitch strikes matter. Because you can get a hitter who doesn't chase off the plate to chase when he's 0-1, 1-2 in the count, then he's defensive, and then you start down the corner, you break it off the plate, and you can get a disciplined hitter to chase that pitch. So first pitch strikes are going to be critical, and umpiring is going to be critical, right? Do the home plate umpires give that borderline pitch? That can change the dynamic and the energy for a hitter.
One of the things that we must stress is the fact that strike one, they're not all created equal. We can look at Tariq Skubal, for example. This guy had so much success. Tariq had so much success throwing the fastball inside for strike one. He was the best in all of baseball.
You're going to swing at and try to hit.
You're like, whoa, strike one. Now he's got a tunnel set up where he can utilize the changeup, and that's why he has so much success. So it's not just, hey, let's just throw a strike right down the middle. No, you better place it in the right spot, or you're giving us hitters a chance.
Yeah, it's the game within the game.
And execution matters. You can have the right plan, but if you don't execute the right pitch.
And the execution is going to be who controls their emotions, who stays focused in the moment. It's just like really cool.
And Dan, one of the things that is really fascinating is the fact sometimes we watch a game and we'll see a pitch get hit. You're like, well, he made a mistake. I'm like, wait a second, he didn't really make a mistake. Look at the catcher with the catcher setting up. He put the glove up and the pitcher hit his spot. It's just the wrong spot to go to.
Right.
So you can still make a mistake even though you executed the pitch you thought you needed to execute. except that you were wrong.
Yeah.
Well, these sort of decisions from individual players matter, but so do managerial decisions.
Sure.
And in the playoffs, we've seen the importance of the bullpen and the impact of the bullpen and the usage of the bullpen as well. Let's take a look at the Cleveland Guardians series against the Yankees and the bullpen usage, because I think it's instructive a little bit about some decision-making and how it could impact moving forward in the World Series.
Yeah, really, this really stood out to me, specifically how Matthew Boyd was handled versus the Tigers and the Yankees. And so, like, in both of these starts, he was dealing. Now, historically, the numbers will show you third time through the lineup is where he really begins to get hit. But what numbers don't tell is a story what's happening in that particular day. Where's his stuff at? What kind of swings are they getting off of him? How easy it is? Is he commanding all quadrants of the strike zone? And so Stephen Vogt, for example, played to the formula. They ended up using 14 pitchers in those two starts. And here's the important point about relievers in postseason. It's not the same as the regular season. The defined focus, the energy, the effort, the emotion behind every pitch, it takes a toll. And so when you start seeing these guys over and over again, not only you're getting familiar with their release points and how to rhythm them up, they're getting tired. They're getting mentally tired to stay focused in the pitch, and they're getting physically tired because they get worn out. So Dave Roberts in particular, because they certainly don't have the depth and rotation of the Yankees, he has quite a challenge going into this series because he's got to balance that in 7 games, because if his pen runs out of gas, they're going to get beat.
Yeah, and all it takes is one guy to just get blown up. Now what, right? And you think you have it all scripted, but what happens is they're going to start running out of gas, just like Dan is saying. And now who are you going to go to? So if you throw one, rock into the formula and it throws it off, you better have a plan. That's why bullpenning, it's not perfect. It really isn't. That's not the answer. The answer, we go back to execution and having the right sequences and making sure that you do not go out there and get the pitch count all the way up high. You see many times over and over again where you are in an at-bat, Dan, and you see a pitch thrown and you get him 0-2, and then if the right pitch is thrown, you have a high probability of a swing and a miss. But if you throw the wrong one, now it's ball 1. Then it's 2-2, then it's 3-2, and now you've thrown 6 pitches, to get out of the AB when it should have been only 3.
So, see, it's so interesting to me because managers script their games out. Like, okay, starter's going to go here, we're going to bring this guy in, this guy in.
Or front offices
right,
script the
or
game
front
out.
offices, right? And they sit down and they map it out. The manager feels sort of locked in on that plan. But they can make adjustments when a pitcher struggles, but when a pitcher does well and better than maybe you thought, they don't make the adjustment.
That is such a good point.
Right? They stick with the plan at that point.
Yeah, that is such a great point. And I think it gets back to experience. Is that I think, if you've done the job a long time, you've probably made enough decisions that some were right and some were wrong. You begin to get this wisdom that comes from that. And so I think you begin to trust your eyes a little bit more under those conditions. I think when you're younger in the role, you don't trust your eyes as much because the formula has worked for you to get you to that point.
And you want to save your job and do the right thing and not have the front office get frustrated by you. And so I completely get it. Human nature takes over.
今回のワールドシリーズで最も注目すべきポイントは、チーム同士の対照的なアプローチですね。ドジャースは打者が徹底して球を選び、ヤンキースは投手陣が意図的にボールゾーンへ投げ込む戦略をとっています。まるでチェスのような頭脳戦が展開されそうです。特に印象的なのは、ドジャースがメッツ戦6試合で41四球を選んだという驚異的な成績です。この精密な打撃アプローチと相手投手陣の緻密な配球との駆け引きは、野球の奥深さを改めて感じさせてくれますね。皆さんはどう思われましたか？ぜひコメント欄で教えてください。では、次回の動画でお会いしましょう。ご視聴ありがとうございました。